Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. So it's Doctor Who Day. It is November 23rd. What year is it? 2022. Not 2020. This next year. And it's Doctor Who's birthday. Doctor Who's anniversary. Now, really, we're all kind of holding our breath and waiting for next year at this one. Kind of reminds me of, when would it be? Probably 1998. It was a Doctor Who convention, I'm guessing Panopticon, right? And it was 2 years after the Paul McGann movie, and nothing was happening. It was dead. Doctor Who was more dead then than it had been, right? After it was cancelled, after season, what was it, 26? So it was more dead. They kept saying, oh, it's going to come back. It's come. Oh, we don't want to have a battle-weary Time Lord languishing in the backwaters of audience appreciation. That I can say that so clearly is the amount of time they kept running out that twaddle, that lie, right? It was a complete lie. Honestly, if you hear anything from any official source, be it governmental or you got to treat it with a grain of salt. They lie all the time. Well, they said it, so it must be it. No, they're lying all the time. They were lying there. So anyway, the story goes that Gary Russell and, was it Nick Briggs or Gary Russell and Jason Hay-Gallery? I'm going to say Nick Briggs and Jason Hay-Gallery, right? They were walking through Panopticon. They were all depressed, right? 35th anniversary of Doctor Who. No Doctor Who. Nothing's happening. It's a dying show. And it was a dying show, right? It was essentially existing on the Virgin it was the BBC 8th Doctor Adventures, which were winding down at the time. It wasn't winding down. It was another few years later. But yeah, it wasn't doing great, right? It wasn't doing great. And they were walking through the convention going, oh, we know we have the license to make audio drama Doctor Who, which completely saved Doctor Who, right? I think it's a very, very important part of Doctor Who history. It absolutely, completely saved Doctor Who. So, and they're saying, oh, we know this Doctor Who's coming back, right? We know this Doctor Who, but we can't tell anyone. Now we all are in that situation. Like, we know Doctor Who's coming back, and if you like the Jodie Whittaker years, I'm really happy for you, right? I really didn't. I didn't think it was actually Doctor Who at all, but doesn't matter, right? That's what I think. What I think doesn't have to impact upon you. But yeah, so we're all kind of waiting for next year. I did a live stream last night. Look, I live stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays. To move my live stream is just a pain in the ass. It really is. I got to change my whole week and maybe more than that. So I did a nearly Doctor Who birthday stream yesterday. But I had this idea. I thought it really worked out well, which you're about to see, of doing the battle of the anniversary stories. Which is the best anniversary story? Now, my final decision is based purely on personal, my personal worldview, my personal interaction with that story. Okay, spoiler alert, it's the Five Doctors. Although I have to tell you, my reasoning is this, right? An anniversary story has to do two things. It has to celebrate and commemorate Doctor Who and tell a story, right? So, I thought the story in the Five Doctors was solid. It was a solid Terrance Dick script. And it felt as solid as the War Games. It's from set piece to set piece to set piece to set piece, but it's held together by a story which I feel works pretty well, and also is in its nature is commemorative to Doctor Who. Where I think my number 2 ranking goes to Dare the Doctor, which is somewhat glitzier, but I don't think the script is as good, frankly, at celebrating Doctor Who. It celebrates it, but it's kind of like, you got like these offhand things like David Tennant saying, oh, you redecorated, I don't like it. Whereas in Five Doctors, it's intrinsically part of the story. Now, you may vehemently disagree, and hurrah for that. Isn't it great? I mean, honestly, we've had this time in fandom that we couldn't disagree. We had to have one prescribed thought about everything, and it's been a bit dull, right? It's been a bit dull. You may disagree. Let me know how you disagree, okay? In the comments. If you vehemently disagree, it's fine. So we go over all the anniversary vessel, the 3 Doctors, 5 Doctors, what's it called? Dark Dimension, even though it didn't get made, but we go over that. Dark Dimension, and then there's Zagreus, Light at the End, and Dare the Doctor, right? So we go over all those anniversary ones and rank them. Again, it's my personal ranking, right? This is my personal emotional connection to the stories. and but everybody intellectually justifies themselves. So that's basically what goes on. So like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things are good. Sign up to my Substack, follow me on Instagram. I'm doing all these short videos called Shorts because YouTube really likes me doing it, and I really help my channel. So go see them, share them. That's great. That really helps me. Why am I acting like you helping me is a thing you want to do? I don't know, but I kind of hope you do, right? I kind of hope you do. That'd be really nice. Like, share, subscribe, comment, sign up my Substack, my email newsletter, sign up my paid Substack. All those things are fantastic. Now, let me hand over to me from last night. The Three Doctors. This was a hard one for me to place because I like it a lot. It's got like a real place in my heart, right? And I really, I genuinely love it. I got to it at an early age. It was one of my earliest stories I saw with Joe Grant and the Brigadier, and I immediately got them, right? They everybody was their most self in this, right? Benton was Captain Yates in this? I think he must have been. Yeah, he was in it. Yeah, Yates was in it. I just saw he's on the behind the sofa. But yeah, I think this one for me suffers from it being not a special episode, rather than a special episode. It's part the normative run, whereas pretty much all the other ones we're going to be talking about isn't, right? Because I don't think they thought. I think they thought that they got to a season 10 would be quite amazing, right? I don't think they. I don't know what they thought the longevity of it was, Doctor Who, at that time. And it just avoided cancellation a couple of years earlier, right? And it kind of like came back from the dead. And again, Three Doctors, I think, is really the proto version. It's the one. It's much like Case of Androzani really explains it, and it expresses what the Fifth Doctor's stories are like. As at the last one, right? The last one, they finally worked out what it is they're doing, right? And it really, really worked. It's the same here. The Three Doctors is kind of like the it's where they'd really had worked out what they're doing with Doctor Who. Now this is also this is before the death of the Master, right? 1 second. Look. Doctor Who episode guide. Hang on. Nothing is easy. Nothing is easy. I just had the bloody page open. Oh, we're on Disgratia. There we go. Doink. Third Doctor. Season 10. Oh no! Well, this is after the death of Roger Delgado, right? So yeah, this is the first post Delgado story, right? Right. So, and I think you can somewhat feel it, right? It's like we're going to carry on and be the bestest ever anyway. But it was this was the first time it kind of. Okay, this was the second time the poetry has reinvented itself. First time you had this like the season 7 one was pretty different as soon as Joe Grant shows up in season 8. So yeah, was this? Yeah, so this must be her last season. And yeah, this is again towards the end. But this was like the proto John Pertwee Twee family. So yeah, because I came into this, I never really got into the Master. Because this just missed the Master. While it is, confident and bigger, it's still a bit 70s and cringy. Whereas I don't feel that way about any other anniversary story. Right? I really don't. I don't feel that way about a lot of stories, but I feel this one's a little bit disco glam cringy. Right? I think the jail guards are just a bit cringy. And I think Omega's helmet is it's all a bit cringy. Right, I just do. I like the Brigadier, I say that's Crowbar, he's a bit like, stupid in this. But yeah, no, look, it was not so much a celebration of the history of Doctor Who. It was the inevitable nod to the past. The people always said, "Well, you got to do the three Doctors at one point, right?" The inevitable nod to the past that the 10th anniversary story would bring, right? So and where it was a bit bigger and glitzier, has slightly higher stakes. I still feel it was no bigger or glitzier than Carnival Monsters that went right after it, right? It feels like in the same in the same breath as that. So what's on the Blu-ray? This doesn't have updated special effects. I honestly don't really think it needed it. So we got Happy Birthday to Who, cast and crew recall making it with this documentary. It's a good documentary, as I recall. Yeah, no, it is a good documentary. This is the. Oh no, this is it, right? Yeah, this. Tony Adoki looking for Lenny looks at the life of Lenny Main featured contributors. Yeah, this is one of the we've run out of people to talk to. Let's find something really weird and interesting. Behind the sofa, I really got to revisit it. It's got one of the groups watching it is Katie. See, this is why I prefer behind actually watching the episode. It's got Katie Manning, Richard Franklin, John Levine in one group watching the episode. It's basically they watch the episode and you watch them watch it and you see the best bits of it. Then another group is Phil Collinson, Pete Matigue, and Joey Wilkinson. That's a weird combination. That is a weird. I mean, I can understand Pete Matigue and Joey Wilkinson. Phil Collinson, what are you doing there, mate? All right. But I will say it for the Richard Franklin, John Levine, and Katie Manning. Yeah, that'd be crazy. That'd be great. Unless it's Katie Manning, Richard Franklin, and John Levine and Phil Collinson. I can't imagine. I can't. Well, here. I actually got it on my hard drive right here. Okay, I'm not going to show it because I'll get in trouble. Don't want to get in trouble. Am I in trouble? Not yet. I'll tell you who it is, okay? I'll do it right now. We're going to go Doctor Who. Third Doctor. Doing. The Three Doctors. Okay, behind the sofa. Okay, I just got to make sure the sound gets turned off before it gets going. Go ahead. Damn you. Oh, there's Phil Collinson and Joey Wilkinson and Pete Matigue. And Katie Manning, Richard Franklin, and John Levine. I say, oh God, I just freeze it on Joey Wilkinson, who's looking slightly more feminine than normal, but still like aggressively unfeminine. So fine. Clean titles. The alternate opening closing music, which is you hear that on the New Adventures of Bernie Summerfield releases with the late lamented David Warner. BSB 31 Who highlights. Yeah, we will get you. We will get you in a minute. 31 Who. They're these really cheap like segments in between a Doctor Who marathon made by John Nathan Turner, right? Who all these like celebrity interviews. So John Nathan Turner is actually perfect casting to do that. So there, I don't know. I don't know what to rate that. Let's say out of 10. My general overall experience is, I'm going to say a 6, because there's bits of it I love and bits of it I hate. right? There's bits of it I really, really desperately love. But there's a lot of it I really don't. There's a lot. It gets pulled back by the cringe factor. So sorry about that. Fine. So the next one, which is actually I think I'm gonna say is probably my personal favorite because it's the right time in my life I watched it in. Right. Is of course the Five Doctors. Oh no, that's the Glitz music. My mistake. Yeah, the Five Doctors. So the Five Doctors is a lot more glam and prestigious than the Three Doctors, right? This is outside the regular run. This is an entire extra special. It's a 90-minute special. When was it aired? Yeah, let's have a look at the. This is why I like Wikipedia. You have all this information. It was specially as 101 minutes. 90-minute was the original airing. It was November 25th, 83. What time? Oh, it doesn't say what time it went out. I'm trying to see. Hang on. Where are we up to? 4-part version? No, I don't want to see that. No, Five Doctors broadcast in the United States. No, it was first broadcast in the United States on the actual date of the program's anniversary. I did not know that. The broadcast in the United Kingdom was late 2 days, so it could coincide with Children Need Charity Night. Wow. I remember it was, yes, that was it. 85. Is it really? I mean, 83. I mean, with an outro by character Peter Davison. There were a few segments in the BBC broadcast that had not been shown in the US airing. I did not know that. Full-part version was shown in next year in August in repeats. Doing not bad. 4.7. Got down to a 3.7 for episode 3, but that also again middle of August. Paul Cornell, Martin Day, and Keith Topping in the wrote discontinuity guide, which I like a lot, right? I think it's good. A fine anniversary tale, although don't analyze the plot too closely, as it's largely a collection of set pieces without a great deal of substance. Well, you say that, but it really isn't. It's very defining of it's very building on the soap opera aspects of Doctor Who. You know, his background, his where he comes from, which they go into, I think, way too much now, right? But then you had sparring visits to Gallifrey. You went there in I think season 10 was the first time you saw it a little bit in War Games, and then you heard about it. I don't remember you actually seeing Gallifrey until the Three Doctors, and again it was just a little bit tinsely. It's like, oh, that's Gallifrey, is it? Looked a lot better by the time you saw it again in Deadly Assassin. It looked a lot better in Deadly Assassin. Oh my god. I think that's why the lore was so easily and completely changed, because Deadly Assassin is just so much freaking better in every way than the Three Doctors. It was just talking about depiction of Gallifrey. Yeah. And but yeah, no, this was a wonderful group of set pieces. Lots of charming performances. Everybody really enjoying themselves. I like the plot. I think the plot's good, right? I think the plot's good. What does I say? Daniel's Hot Topic says, hello, did you know that Matt Smith will be a future Doctor in Disney Plus episode of Doctor Who's starting to film late 2023? My guess is November 2023 will start filming. That's interesting. Well, I think that's very exciting. I hope that's true. But again, so it didn't really showcase the Doctor Who of the time in the way that the Doctor did as well. But it was a separate production. It was a more prestigious production. And it did have great bits in it as well, right? I mean, you had like the Cybermen being hacked apart by the Rasta Warrior robot and throwing up. I mean, that was just freaking awesome, mate. It was just awesome. The Master was good. Everyone's good and like acted like their characters. I think it's a solid script. I think it's as solid as War Games, right? Just shorter and in color with lots of people you know. You got the Yeti with the second Doctor and the Brigadier is fantastic. You got like all the set. It's like, hey, this is really good. I have to tell you, as a celebration of Doctor Who, this is probably what I think is the best one. The Five Doctors. What do you mean you go on the run from your own people in a rackety old TARDIS? Why not? That's how it all began, and it hang about an extra half second too long. Right? It was a little bit of a little bit uncomfortable as it zoomed in on him. But yeah. I have to say, I do enjoy the Five Doctors. So then we have for the 30th anniversary. Now wait a minute. Was there a novel that came out in the 30th anniversary? Would have been Virgin New Adventures, wouldn't it? Hang on, I forgot to look at that. Virgin New Doctor Who Adventures, November 1993. That totally would have been their era. 1 second. Oh, fine. So let's have a look at the Wikipedia of that. List of them. Do we have a? So they didn't do anything. That's really sad. They didn't do anything for it at all. Right. It was November 93 was the Dimension Riders, which was somewhat forgettable. It was that came right after Blood Heat, which was really good. It was like an alternate Earth where the Silurians won and they killed the third Doctor. That's a freaking awesome book, right? That is a freaking awesome book. And The Left-Handed Hummingbird, which is Kate Orman's debut novel, which is a freaking awesome book, right? Just a freaking awesome book. Crazily awesome. So it didn't have a direct tie-in at all. That was a shame. So anyway, so I guess we have to talk about the Dark Dimension. 1 second. Let's have a look. Doctor Who, the Dark Dimension, which they have, you can get a there is an audio version of it, right? The problem with it is it doesn't sound at all like anybody's like nobody sounds like they're supposed to. It's not bad. It's kind of fun. Let's value it as a Doctor Who story. So this is somewhat of a celebration as well. In a second. So this was the abortive 30th anniversary story that was going to be made after Doctor Who had basically gone off the air. It got torpedoed because they had 2 bits of budget added together. Two bits of the budget were doubled, essentially. They added the same thing in twice, and they just didn't have the money to make it in the end. Essentially, it would have started off with the 7th Doctor being dead, and there's a character based on Bernie Summerfield called Summerfield, who's nothing like Bernie Summerfield, and you get cameos in the Doctors, but you also get like an aged 4th Doctor, and the villain would have been played by Rick Mell. He was in the running for it. Would have been directed by what's he called again? Kaiser Androzani. I nearly had it then. Kaiser Androzani, Revelation of the Daleks is Graham Harper. Oh, thank you. It was going to be directed by Graham Harper. Sadly, it all fell through. Essentially, the other Doctors only had a cameo appearance. The best one of them was Colin Baker, who was acting as a barrister on behalf of Cybermen, I think. To defend them in court. They basically had like one scene each, but it was mainly the 4th Doctor, and it goes off into the 7th Doctor at the end. Okay, so to evaluate this as a anniversary story, right? That is the brief, right? As an anniversary story, um, not bad actually, not as good as the Five Doctors. I would say as good as the Three Doctors in that they're both very representative of the time. In that it didn't get made. I mean, there is that, but they're very representative of their time. Of 90s production, but this was like felt very like a very 93 BBC somewhat low budget production, right? Trying to do its best it can, punching above its weight, right? So yeah, so it's good. So it feels like that. So it feels very contemporary of what Doctor Who would have been at the time. You had good nods to the good nods to the other Doctors. The story is as silly as all. I think again, instead of story, I still think Five Doctors is the strongest, right? In terms of the story, Five Doctors is the strongest. I put this actually a nose ahead of Three Doctors, which I'm kind of surprised about, right? But a nose ahead of the Three Doctors. So we got to 2003. Hang on, was there? Now let me see if there was a book about, because I forgot about the book series. Where was it? Let's try them. We'll look that up. BBC Eighth Doctor book series. I mean, look, let's see what happened in November 2003. Did they publish a book at that time, and did it tie in? Oh, you know what? I didn't even look at missing the past Doctors series. I'll have to look at that in a second. There we go. So 2003, October. No, there wasn't one. Man, it was up. It's really going up its own arse by that time. That book series, and it was slowing down. Right, it was really slowing down. The last one was the Gallifrey Chronicles. No, I think I jumped off by that point. I think the last one I read was Mad Dogs and Englishmen. Yeah, I got off. Yeah, so I was like, the Big Finish was going strong by then. I was basically done, and I think they started having. Yeah, you had the Eighth Doctor in audio, so I'm like, forget it. There's too much work. Leave me alone, right? So let's go to that one. Got a Big Finish. It's a grace. So Zagreus, again, it's interesting because it really feels like part of the main production schedule. This is the one that was set apart, but it's also one of the the ongoing production schedule of Big Finish, which actually led up to, right? You had Big Finish had basically boiled down to two strands at that time. Hey, we'll look it up. The main range. Oh, there's a Time War sale. Blimey, we should look at that in a minute. But okay, for 1 second. Doctor Who, the monthly adventures. That's what I'm looking for. Oh, this website is a nightmare. Okay, it's just like, man, it's like a nightmare. Sort by oldest first. Fine. Now we do share screen. Screen, Chrome tab. Do that. There you go. Monthly adventures. So it kind of built up to the Zagreus, which is their 40th anniversary story, right? But because when they started doing right here, that this is when they're at the second season of Paul McGann. They did Paul McGann seasons and then rotating older Doctors. So they did the second Paul McGann season. The finale of it was in, let's see when that came out, was in July. Oh wow, a whole year before. Was a direct prequel to the 40th anniversary story, which is called Zacharias. Basically, it was a story that introduced something about the Time Lords, and you had the Don Warrington Rassilon, and you had this terrible figure from the terrible Time Lord history, a terrible villain from Time Lord history called Zagreus, who at the end of it gets revealed to be the Eighth Doctor. I am Zagreus! Ah! Right? So then, look, man, look at the run they had. Spare Parts, awesome. Ish, I think people hated Ish. I quite liked it. The Rapture is like, this is so early 2000s Doctor Who. Sandman, excellent one. Didn't love the Church and the Crown, but I know a lot of people did. But Bing Bada Boom, that's basically Seventh Doctor and Mel in a space Eurovision Song Contest. Yeah, I think Eurovision Song Contest, something like that. Jubilee, all-time classic, like absolutely all-time classic, right? Necrotamia. I didn't really care for that character, but now we're in 2003, right? We're in 2003, and we're going over this so you understand what the production schedule was like, which is, I think, very fiercely inventive and pushing the boundaries in interesting ways. You feel them wanting to do really, you feel like it's Jerry Anderson wanting to break out the boundaries of doing marionettes, right? So the first thing they did had the Dark Flame, weakest one of the year, I think. Unfortunately, that's set in the Virgin New Adventures universe, which is a thing they experimented with a couple of times. But then you get Doctor and the Pirates, which is essentially it's a musical, as like a Gilbert and Sullivan musical with the Sixth Doctor and Evelyn. I don't remember the detail. I just remember it being really fun. Creatures of Beauty is fiercely inventive. It's such a great story. It's all broken into different. It's not told in a linear order, right? And it's really interesting the way the story is unfolding, right? It's a Nick Briggs script. I really like this one. Project Lazarus continues this idea of there being this dodgy underground group that deals with alien technology and witchcraft. That's more of a criminal group than a government one. I think it's called the Forge, right? It was an ongoing thing for the Sixth Doctor. But you also got the Seventh Doctor in this one, so it's like kind of a two Doctorish one. You have Flip Flop, which are two discs. You can listen to me either way. But then in the run up to the anniversary, right, you have Omega, which you had like the super villain to November. So you had November, October, September. So this will be in August. You got the Omega, which is basically it's a story about Omega. There was a Fifth Doctor story, as I recall. Davros was a Sixth Doctor story. Again, it's a weird one. All right, and this was one of the weird ones without the Daleks, and it was like a battle of a weird psychological battle between the Sixth Doctor and Davros, right? Where Davros still wasn't who he thought he was. Same thing with the Master, which was like it was the Seventh Doctor and the Master. But then the big 40th anniversary story was the Greyers, where you finally got to see the resolution of the previous year's season 2 of the Paul McGann ongoing one, which was essentially that was the ongoing Doctor Who, where they felt they had the most license to move the story forward. What they were doing in everything else, they were moving the story laterally, right? And they were going in interesting new ways. So this is very representative of what they were trying to do then. And it's one of the few things they did that really failed. In my estimation, very sadly. You had all the Doctors in it, all the Big Finish Doctors, but they were not playing themselves. They're playing different characters. I don't even know why they're dressed as a Doctor. They might have been playing the Doctor a little bit as themselves, but they were mainly playing different characters. Was it Sylvester McCoy was like this guy in charge of a what's his name figure, like a who's it called again? Like a Walt Disney figure. Colin Baker was a vampire. I don't even remember what Peter Davison was. But it just didn't really work, right? It all had to do with Rassilon, and it was Gary Russell and Alan Barnes. It was really like the end of phase 2 and beginning of phase 3, and you can really tell it didn't work because this is the thing that really launched the Divergent arc, which everybody hated, right? That was really yeah. So this was. This was a big finish flying too close to the sun, right? Sadly, and it was really represented in this release. Not their best one, sadly. However, I think it's only fair that we go to light at the end as well when we talk about their now we're on to the 50th anniversary. But light at the end, it is fantastic. If you haven't heard it, it's really good. There's one thing that's really missing from it that kind of annoys me, right? This is the basic plot of it is the Master gets some kind of super weapon that destroys the Doctor from erases him from time, and so the remnants of the Doctor get together to rectify this, and they do it with these 5 Doctors. But yeah, I wish they had a companion release of what the first 3 Doctors were doing during this, but they could have done it as a companion chronicle, and I really thought that would have made a much stronger anniversary story, right? Oh, but yeah, no, evaluating Zagress anniversary story, it's not good. It's not good. Having cameos of other people, it's not good. I'm going to rate Zagress as the weakest anniversary story, right? So Zagress is at the bottom, 3 Doctors and Dark Dimension somewhat tied. 2 Doctors and 5 Doctors way at the top there, baby. So so you get like nice combinations in this. You get a very good, clear idea of a love of understanding of Doctor Who with this, which is you also get with the 5 Doctors. It's very good when they pair up the 4th Doctor and McGann. I think that works as well. I mean, basically, every works well for this. I think it's somewhat hurt by I don't like the title, right? The light at the end. Just it's neither. It's not very dramatic, right? Dark Dimension is actually quite dramatic, right? That feels like you can get. It feels like somewhat tangible. Man, they want $30 for this now. Bloody hell! Just as a download, that's crazy. Man, how many discs do you get for that? 5 discs, I get, but still, that's crazy. It came in a beautiful. It's one of the few things I have as physical media because it came in a beautiful gift box. It's a great little story. It really is. It's a really good little story. I do recommend it. Very anniversary-esque. They didn't want to do it, but they did, and I'm glad they did. This one is okay. It's better than the 3 Doctors and Dark Dimension. I'm going to say in terms of a story, it's the equal or superior to the 5 Doctors. In terms of an experience, inferior, right? Inferior. So now let's turn to Day of the Doctor. Day of the Doctor. So this was a very, you could tell how insanely special this was for the BBC, because like this, by the time we got the 50th anniversary, Doctor Who was big business, doing very well. Suddenly, it was the hugest show for the BBC, right? It was a very expensive jewel in the crown, right? It was winning just critically and commercially. This was just fantastic with the BBC, right? The BBC was very, very happy with Doctor Who and very happy to labour praise and expense upon it, right? Because it was doing very well. So I do have the 3D version, and the only way I can watch it is if I put on my PlayStation 3 headset, so I can see the 3D. Is it worth it? It's not bad. I mean, like the bit where there's lots of like 3D stuff where you see like the picture, the Gallifrey Falls no more. But much like Zagreus, right? It wraps up all the ongoing plot threads and moves you forward into the next phase. I mean, this time it does it very joyously and successfully, and I think it does it as a. I think it does. I think it does it joyfully and successfully, right? And I also think it's good as a and a commemorative of Doctor Who. Okay. So let's say to wrap this up, the death match of the anniversary stories. I would have to say, Day of the Doctor is a strong contender, isn't it? I mean, you also got the Night of the Doctor. You got all that other. I mean, you got the Day of the Doctor experience, which was glorious. Where does that go? It's honestly, but again, I would say it's as good as the Light at the End. But okay, there's as good as Light at the End, but I'm going to still stick with the Five Doctors being the best of the anniversary specials because I watched it when I was 12 and I loved it. But still, I think does it stack up? I don't know. I think it wasn't as grandiose as the Day of the Doctor. But I think I liked it more. I think that script was better. I really do. Really, genuinely, proper do. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.